Hello everyone, my name's Kathy and I'm so glad you joined me today at Kathy's Random Acts of Stamping. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located here in the beautiful state of North Carolina. But if you're not currently working with a demonstrator and you're looking for someone that can help you with all of your stamping needs and your paper crafting needs, I am here for you. So if you want to reach out to me, all of my contact information is listed in the video below. I am so excited to show you this card. Now, I did not design this card. I'm casing this card from another YouTuber that I saw, but I did mine totally different than her. So I designed it. I used her same layout, but I designed mine different. And what I did is I just I used the Evening Evergreen, not Evening Evergreen, I'm sorry, the Ever Eden specialty paper for my designer series paper, and I paired it with the soft succulent and the Evening Evergreen to give me this rich. And then I used some gold foil, and I actually heat embossed my Merry Christmas, and I used vellum for my my poinsettias, and I thought it was beautiful. But the wow factor is when you open this card. Are you ready? How pretty is that? Now you tell me if that's not a wow card. And we're going to make another one, and I know what you're thinking, but don't get that out of your mind. These are all simple basic cuts, nothing complicated about this card. It looks complicated, but I promise you it is not. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we want to do is cut, this is a 5x7 card, so we're going to cut some cardstock to 5x7. And I'm going to use, some real red. Okay, so you're going to need probably 3 sheets. I think 3 sheets of your cardstock to get your card base. This is a large card, so it is going to take a little finesse to get everything just like you want it. But it's very simple, so do not, I stress, do not be intimidated. So take your 11-inch side of your cardstock and put it up to the top of your trimmer. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this down to 10. So just line it up to the 10-inch mark, and then we're going to slice it. So we're just taking an inch off of that end. Then we're going to turn it to this side, the 8.5-inch side, and we're going to cut this at 7. Now this is going to give us our 5x7, and we need 2 pieces, so we can get both pieces out of one piece of cardstock. So line it up to 7, make sure you're right on that 7, and slice. Now all we're going to do is turn this back around to this 10-inch side. There's your 10 inches. Line it up to 5, and we're going to cut that in half at 5 inches. So again, just slice up. Now that gives you 2 of your panels that you're going to need. Now your next piece is going to be a little bit different because this piece needs to be 7 by 10. Very easy to do. We're going to cut our 7-inch, oops, I don't need but one piece. We're going to cut our 7-inch piece off of the 8.5-inch side. So I'm going to line this up to 7, and I'm going to go ahead and slice that off. And then we're going to turn it this way and slice it at 10. So that's all the cutting for this. Now we're going to score this piece. On this 10-inch side, you're going to put it up, and you're going to score this at 2.5. So and I'll tell you what, since I know a lot of you may not have this trimmer, I'm going to show you how to do this in your scoreboard. I think sometimes we forget that not everybody has that particular trimmer. So I'm going to bring my scoreboard out, and I'm going to line this up, and there's my 10-inch side up to the top, and I'm going to score this at 2.5. So there's my 2.5-inch. I want to make sure my little, I'm using the small ball on my stylus. So 2.5. all the way down, 5, which is halfway, and 7.5. Now what this is going to do, this is going to give you 2.5-inch panels all the way across. So all we're going to do now is we're going to do a mountain, valley, and mountain fold. So basically an accordion fold just like that. So I'm going to move my scoreboard, and you're going to see just how simple this card is going to come together and how easy it is to make. Just follow, don't get intimidated. Look at this one step at a time, and you will find that it's not intimidating at all, but you just have to take it step by step. So I'm creasing that side down, then I'm going to go to this side. I'm making sure that my lines are nice and straight, and then I'm going to turn this one in and crease it down. Now everything is creased, and this is the way it should look. So you should have this M shape when you're done. The peak should be up in the middle and these flaps down like this. Then all you're going to do is you're going to fold this over, put some adhesive here. Now it's totally up to you whether you want to use Stampin Seal or whether you want to use glue. Either one will work. I am, for the sake of the video, going to grab my Stampin Seal. I like this stuff because it's super strong, it holds nice and tight, it's neat, and I don't have to wait for drying time. Now if you're new to getting things lined up and you have a little bit of difficulty, I would suggest for you to use your glue. I've been doing this for a long time, so I'm usually pretty good at getting my pieces lined up. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down flush to the desk, just like that. Line it up. Once I get everything lined up, then I'm just going to fold that over onto the back. Then you're going to have a panel like that. That makes 1/2 of your fold. So we're going to turn it over to this side where this flap is coming up right here. We're going to do the same thing. Put your glue or your adhesive along here. Just like that, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold this side down. I'm going to butt this right up to it. Once I'm satisfied, I'm going to just fold, moved my hand. Once I'm satisfied with that being nice and straight, then I'm just going to push that down. And once you get your panels attached like this, then you are ready to want to decorate the inside. But before I do that, I like to bring my card together and make sure that my edges are lining up, because sometimes it shimmies a little bit. So what I do is I put my edges together, hold it in place, and I take a bone folder and just really press it out, just to make sure that everything is nice and squared up. This will make your card lay much better once you get all your panels and everything in, because there is a lot going on in this card. So the next thing we need to do is decide which one of our pattern papers do we want to put in the inside. And now we know that this piece was a 5x7, so we want to cut 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So we'll have that little bit of red peeking out all the way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into my trimmer, and I'm going to go to 4 3/4. That's going to give me my width. And I always say, measure twice, cut once. So at this point you may want to grab your ruler. So I like to just come back in and make sure that I am measuring right. So 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, because it is 5x7. So I'm going to lay that over there, and I'm going to cut this off at 4 3/4, and I'm going to make sure I got everything nice and straight all the way down that line. Move that score blade out of my way and slice. And then we're going to turn it this way, and we're going to open up our arm because we want to go to 6 3/4, which is almost a 7. Move that out of my way. And that's going to give us one panel for here. And we're going to need another panel. So I'm going to cut this one at 6 3/4, and slice that. And we're going to slice it down this way. Yeah, that's the way I want that to go, to 4 3/4. So now we have our 2 panels for this side, for these 2 pieces here. Now we need to decide if we want to use this paper here, and I do. So I'm going to cut 2 1/4 off of this side. So 2 1/4, and then I'm going to bring this over to 6 3/4 and slice. And that's going to give me my panel for that side. We're just going to line it up like so. I love that. I think it's so pretty. And then we're going to cut another strip for that side. And we're going to cut this at 2 1/4. And again, we're going to turn it and we're going to cut it at 6 3/4. And then that's going to go right here. So we can go ahead now and glue those in. Sorry, my phone is so loud. I need to turn my volume down. This thing is making a world of noise. That works a little better. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use liquid glue on this, and I am just going to, and I put a little magnet on here because I was forever losing my pen, and I would spend so much time looking for that pen that I thought my friend Edith Ray, I've seen her do that on her bottles of glue, and I thought what a great thing to do so we can keep up with that pen. Alright, so we're going to take this piece and I'm going to move this panel out of my way so that I can just concentrate on this panel right here. So I am going to gauge my margins and get that down right about there. And I'm going to press it. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this piece, and we're going to put it right here. This. I think it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, and it really doesn't matter. So some glue on here. And if y'all notice, I like to go back down around my edges to make sure that I've got a good amount of glue on my edges. So I'm going to bring this piece and center it up right between those score lines. Just like that. And press. And then we're going to grab that other piece. Oops, that pressed up right there. So let's iron that out just a little bit, make sure it's not lifting. For some reason that wanted to lift, so I'm just going to go under that edge and put a little bit more glue there. There we go. So now that I've got that on, we're going to do some more cutting now. I'm going to bring over my completed card and show you. We have done our panels here, 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 and here. You can see here I use different paper in the middle, but it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want to do. The next thing we need to do is these panels right here. So these two pieces are going to be, we're going to need to cut two of those, and they are going to be 6 by 5. And I'm going to use red cardstock. So I'm going to grab another piece of real red. And we are going to cut these at 5. Let's see if we can get them. Yeah, we're going to go this direction. So cut it at 5. And then turn that around and cut it by 6. And you're going to cut 2 of those. So we know that, okay, let's cut that by 6 and then turn it and cut it to 5. So very simple measurements, 5 inches by 6 inches. And I'm going to bring my scoreboard back over to score these pieces because we are going to do some scoring. So we're going to put these in on our 6-inch side, just like this. And I'm going to use my stylus. And we are going to score at 1.5. Get some nice little score lines in there. 3. And 4.5. Now, do not be concerned about the measurements. All of these measurements is going to be in the blog, or not in the blog, but in the description below this video, as well as all of this will also be on our Facebook page. So you can go there and click on the video and also access it from there as well. So again, we're going to go in at 1.5. So you're just going to do both of these pieces the same, 3 and 4.5. So once you get those done, we're going to fold these all in the same direction. And I like to fold into that score line. So into the mountain of that, you see you've got a divot here and you've got a raised area there. I like to fold into the raised area. I get a much better fold and more accurate fold when I fold into those. So we're going to put the scoreboard up again. We will have more scoring to do, but you can see that all of these pieces are very simple cuts, very simple, and these are going to go into our card. So what we're going to do is we are going to fold it in 2 like that, and this is going to stick here and here. So what you want to do is you want to decide where you want this to go, and you want to kind of look at your distance between this side and this side, and you want it to go to that score line but not over it. So that is a crucial thing. I'm going to put that card out like that so you can see. You want it to go right to that score line, but don't let it go over that score line. If you go over it, you're going to have trouble with the card folding, and you don't want that. So bring it down. I am going to do my top piece first. So what I'm going to do on this piece right here, I'm going to use liquid glue. And I'm just going to put a bead of glue all the way around. Oops. And all in the middle of that. I did go over and get a little bit into that fold, so I'm going to get that off of there. And I want to go just up to that score line. Again, I'm gauging from one side to the other, and then all I'm going to do is fold that down onto there and press. And just give it a few minutes, let that glue adhere. That's all you have to do. So once I get that adhered, then I'm going to turn this over like this. And you know what? I did not get that piece straight. That's okay. We're going to lift it and pull it up. See, I've had so many of y'all to tell me that you like me leaving my mistakes in. None of us are perfect, and nobody crafts perfect. And I say this so many times, just because I have a YouTube channel does not mean I'm not still learning. Every card that I do is another learning experience. So see, I just moved that up a little bit, and everything is still good. My glue is still holding. And now I'm going to take and do the same thing. I'm going to put glue all around this piece. And all I'm going to do this time is fold this piece over onto that. And I got glue on my fingers, but that's okay. That is okay. The glue will come up and it will dry clear. So once you get that down, when you open this up, you're going to have that panel right there. It's going to look like that. So we're going to do the exact same thing on this other side. So I have that other one, and I am going to fold it in half, and I'm going to put it right to that score line. And I want to kind of gauge and make sure that I get these about even. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten this piece out. And once I get that about where I want it, now you can also use your Stampin Seal if you like. This works really well, and it is an easy adhesive to use for this sort of thing. So I'm going to put a piece there. Oops, look what's happening. It's tearing my cardstock. And we're going to hold it right there again. There we go. Now I'm going to hold that nice and straight. Let's put a little bit of glue across there just to hold that piece down. And now that I've got that as straight as I think I can, bringing it right up to that score line, I'm going to press that side down just like I did before. The Stampin Seal is going to really adhere a little bit faster and better than your liquid glue, so that might be a reason why you might want to use Stampin Seal. It is totally up to you. Use the adhesive of your choice. And now all I'm going to do is fold that over onto it, give it a good little press, just like so, and then open that up. And there is our two panels. How easy is that? So far, so good. Not difficult to make, and it's a wow factor. So now looking back at my first card, the next two panels are going to be these two on this side. This is where you're going to want to do some stamping or some sentiments or whatever. So I'm going to go and pull my stamps that I want to use, and I will come back and show you how to cut those pieces. We'll be right back. So I have decided to go ahead and make our side panels, these last ones here. And I think the reason I want to do that is I want to build these, and then we will cut our pieces and do our stamping. I still haven't decided on what stamp set I want to use yet, but I'm thinking I want to use something kind of cutesy, so we'll see how this pans out for me. The next thing that we need to do is we need two pieces that's going to measure 4 inches by 4 5/8. Don't be afraid, 5/8 is not hard. And what we're going to do now is I'm just going to bring this up, and I'm going to cut two pieces at 4 inches. So bring it right to 4 and move that score blade out of my way. cut one at 4 and one more at 4. This trimmer makes everything so easy because the measurements are so easy to read on this. And you have 16ths, which is so important to have a trimmer that gives you 16ths, 8ths, quarters, halves, and so forth. So I do like that. Now I'm going to put these together because I'm going to cut once, and I'm going to line this up to 4 and 5/8. Now 5/8 means you're going to go to every other one. So that's 1/8. The next one over would be 16th, so that will not be 2/8. So we're going to go to the next one, which will be 2/8, skipping 3/8, a half is 4/8, and then one more over would be 5/8. So skipping that one in between. So that right there will give you 4 and 5/8. So I'm just going to cut both of those off. Now we need to score this, and we need to score it on our 4 and 5/8. On our 4 and 5/8 side. So it's going to be like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to, let me take it back to the scoreboard. I've been doing that throughout, so I think I'll just continue using my scoreboard to make it easier for y'all to follow. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in on our 4 and 5/8. There's our 5/8, and we are going to use our larger ball tip because we're doing this on cards on designer series paper and not cardstock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to score at a 1/2 inch, and I like to get into that groove and make sure I'm in it. Have you ever been scoring and you would get onto that groove and then it would go off? I think we all have, and it's so disappointing. So a 1/2, then 1 and 1/4. So that would be right there. I'm getting into that groove. 1 and 1/4. And then we're going to go all the way over to 3 and 7/8. And 7/8 would be the one right before your 4. So if you count these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's 7/8, because this particular scoreboard is divided off into 8. So 3 and 7/8, I'm sorry, 3 and 7/8, which would make it right there. I knew that my line wasn't deep enough, so 3 and then right here, 7/8. I was going over to 4 and I knew that didn't look right. Okay, there we go. So, and like I said, all of these measurements will be in the description below. So we're going to do this one more time. We're going to score at a 1/2. We're going to score at 1 and 1/4. 1 and 1/4. And then we're going to go all the way over to 3 and 7/8, which is right there before the 4. Okay, so we got those two pieces scored. So let me move my scoreboard one more time. And we are going to fold these pieces, and we're going to fold them all mountain folds, just like that. And see how cute these are going to be? I'm going to make sure that I press these down really good because I want to make sure that all of my scores are nice and crisp. Just like that. And then you're going to have one side that's going to go in like this and the other one like this. So when you fold these, and I'll show you what I mean, and sometimes having the other card to refer to will help open that up in your mind so that you can better understand exactly what we're doing. So I'm going to score that right there, and then I'm going to score this one, or I should say burnish it, it's already scored. Just like that. And these are going to set in. I'm going to bring this card back over so you can see. You have the side that just has the one that's going to go in, and the side that has this piece and the side, that is going to go to your outside of your card on this side, just like that. And this piece is going to go to the outside right there. So this is the way they're going to sit in, but they're going to be here and here. And let me bring that back over so you can see exactly what we're looking at. Isn't that so pretty? I love that. Now before I glue these down, I want to go ahead and cut a piece of white paper. And I want something that's going to frame within this. So we're going to measure this to get our mat. And let me find that little ruler that always gets away from me. So this piece measures right at, let's see, let's bend it down like that. 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2 5/8. So we're going to go 2 1/2, or maybe 2 3/8. Let's go 2 3/8 by 3 3/4. So 2 3/8. I'm going to write that down. Two 3/8 by 3 3/4. And I think that'll make a nice little mat on top of here. Now if you want to, you could mat your mat. So if you wanted to cut a piece of red to go over this and then another piece of white, you could do that. So remember, this is your card. You can decorate it however you see fit. But one of these is going to go on one side and one on the other. I'm just going to go with a white, and I'm going to grab some scraps. This is always a great way to use up your little scraps. And I'm going to cut these pieces to 2 3/8 by 3/4. So grab my trimmer. And let's see, we need it to be 3 3/4 right there. So I'm going to cut that off. And then I'm going to cut this down to 2. And we're going to do our 8s again. So 1, 2, and 3. So I always have to count mine because, you know, sometimes fractions can be hard. So that's going to go on here just like that. And we're going to stamp something, but I still got to figure out what I want to stamp. So I'm going to cut this one down to 3 3/4. And I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to get it to 2 3/8. 1, 2, and 3. And now we have our 2 pieces that we're going to mat on there. So now I'm going to grab some stamps, and we are going to start stamping. And I may want to color. So let me grab my stamps, and we'll meet right back up in just a minute. Alright, I pulled Snowman Season. This is such a cute little stamp set, and I like this little guy here. I love him too, but I wanted to add color, and this one wouldn't allow me to do too much color other than maybe an orange nose and a little blue, and maybe some blue down here where the snow is. But this one, I have a little piece of greenery here. He has on a hat and a scarf, so I think I can do more with that. So that's the reason I chose that particular image. Now what I want to do before I start, I want to stamp some snowflakes. So I'm going to grab this little snowflake stamp right here, and we're going to do that in just some Balmy Blue, just to have a few snowflakes kind of falling around his head. I think that'll be really, really cute. And we're going to do it kind of pale. So I'm going to show you, we're going to do what we like to call second generation stamping. So I'm just going to take another piece of scrap cardstock, and I'm going to stamp that off. And see, that's much darker. And then I'm going to stamp it again, and see how light, you probably can't even see it from a distance, but up close it's very subtle. So I'm going to do that all over this card. So I'm going to stamp, and then I'm going to stamp this right here, and then I'm going to stamp and stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp again, maybe right here, and stamp off. And you can just stamp over your images, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to turn this around because I want this to come down just a little bit like that, and I'm going to stamp off, and I want some to come down this way, stamp off, and down Oops, that one didn't look like it got. Let's try that again. We'll stamp this one maybe this way, so like that, and we'll do maybe a couple down here and down here. Now I'm going to stamp my snowman in black, or maybe I'll do gray. Sometimes if you go a little bit lighter, it just makes it look much richer. So I am going to grab my Smoky Slate. That's always a pretty color when you're going to use some blues for your snow and what have you. It's just a little softer than using a black. So I'm going to grab a stamp block and I'm going to level him out here on my desk. Let's see if he'll fit. I think he'll fit perfectly on this block. And now I'm just going to grab my Stampin' Pierce mat. Probably should have done that on my Stampin' Pierce, but I didn't, but that's okay. And then I am going to pick him up and we're going to put him down right about here. And I'm just giving that a good press because I want to get as much of that little snowman in there. And see how the snowflakes, let me bring that up so you can see it. You can see how the snowflakes are very subtle, and that's exactly what I was looking for. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. So I'm going to leave my gray out just for a minute, and I'm going to bring this one over, and my Balmy Blue again. I should have went ahead and stamped both while I was going, but hey, you know how that goes. I just got carried away, so I'm going to grab that. Well, here it is. Grab that little piece of cardstock. I'm just turning it over. And this time I'm just going to go in, stamp off. And just keep doing this until we get all of our snowflakes all the way around. Okay, now that we've got our snowflakes all done, I am going to close up this ink pad, and I'm going to bring my little snowman back over. And we're going to dip him into that Smoky Slate. Bring this down, and we're going to stamp him right about here. I'm going to get it about the same evenness that I did on the other one. Give that a good press. And there we go. Now we're ready to close this up, and I'm going to grab some Stampin' Blends, and we are going to color him up a little bit. Now you can use whatever is your preference of color. If you wanted to do colored pencils, that would be perfect. If you wanted to use your Stampin' Write markers, that would work as well. I am going to go in for my, this was last year's color, so I don't want to use those. I'm going to grab that Balmy Blue, and I want some red and green, so I'm going to grab the light real red, and let's see, the green in that looks to be either Old Olive or Granny Apple. I'm going to grab the Granny Apple, the dark Granny Apple. I think that'd be pretty. And we're going to do his scarf and his hat and his nose. We need some pumpkin spice for that. So I'm going to grab the dark pumpkin pie, not pumpkin spice, pumpkin pie. I'm thinking about pumpkin pie because I'm going to make a sweet potato pie, and it's very much like pumpkin, but I prefer sweet potatoes over pumpkin, so we're going to do that for Thanksgiving. I'm going to go in first and do his little nose, and I'm using the bullet tip on my markers. Let me zoom y'all in just a little bit so that you can better get a view of what I'm doing. So that looks like that might be a good place. And all I'm going to do is just go in here and I'm just going to tap some color in. I just want his nose to have a pretty little orange for his little carrot nose. That's all we need to do. We're not going to be doing a whole lot of shading and what have you. Maybe a little bit with the blue, but not too much. I'm going to use the brush tip on my snowman, and I'm just going to go around the edges. Usually under the edges is where you're going to have the shading. And this is my light, and even with that it's kind of dark, so you want to be very light-handed. And if you see what I'm doing, I'm just going around and getting around the edges of his face and his body. Just like that. And a little bit right there. And I think what I'm going to do from there, I want to blend that out a little bit, so I'm going to use my blender. This is actually called the color lifter, and this, if you pull this color like that, it will just soften it up and just make that look a lot more uniformed. I love doing this when I'm coloring with just one color. Just really does soften things up, make everything look much smoother. I think that would be the right word. So I'm going to take this one and do the same thing over here. I am going to come in, swirl a little color right around there. And you know, no two snowmen are identical, so it doesn't have to be identical. So just come up around his face like that. I'm going to come back in with that blender or lifter, and I am just going to smooth everything out just like this. And down here. And that looks really good. So now we want to go in and use this red, and I'm going to use the bullet tip for this, and I want his little hat to be red. We might have to come back with a little of that dark red to really accentuate his little hat. Isn't that cute? Love it, love it, love it. Now on his scarf, I'm going to do every other one of these so that he can have a striped little scarf. So I'm going to go here and there, just like that. Then we're going to come in with our green, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to come in every other blank place, and we're going to do that in the green. And you can see it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs a little color. And then we're going to do his hat the same way. I'm going to do every other one just like that, and we'll come in and throw a little red in there. Oh, before I go any further, I do want to do a little greenery on this little tree. Oh, it's a sad little tree. It looks like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree, don't you think? So now again, I'm going to bring the dark red in. This is our dark real red. And I want to add a little bit of contrast around the edges and a little bit more color into his hat and his scarf, just like that. And then I'm going to take the darker Balmy Blue, the dark Balmy Blue, and I want to color where he's standing. Just to give him a little grounding right there. And he is done. And see how quick and easy that was? And then all we're going to do is put him right on here. And if you want to, you could stamp in black, which I think would be great. I'm not going to move those out because we still got to finish this one up. But we could do Let It Snow. Let's see if Let It Snow will work right there. I think it will. We could do that in red, or we could do it in navy. I think I'm going to do it in black. I think the black will really have make everything pop, or we could do it in the Smoky Slate. Always decisions when you're crafting. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in the Smoky Slate. And this will just kind of go hand in hand with what we got going on. So, get my Stampin' Pierce mat. I'm going to ink that up one more time. And I'm going to put it right in the middle. I really want to let that soak into that paper. And there we go. Is that not gorgeous? See how cute that turned out? And it was really super simple. It didn't take a lot of coloring skills. It didn't take hardly anything at all. It was just basically fun. It was just fun. So how about on this one, we're going to finish it off. Just like that. And then we need something over here. And how about, we've got our Snowflake Wishes, because I brought this one out too. And thank you so much. I love that. Let's see if that will fit. These stamps are a lot bigger than what they look like. So, May Your Season Sparkle. That would be cute. We might even put some Wink of Stella on here so it really will sparkle. Thanks so much. I didn't see that one. Thank you so much. Let's see if this one will work. I really like that. And I think that will fit right there. Yeah, we'll do that one. I think this one will work better than this one. So I'm going to just put that one back in the case, and I'm going to grab that same Smoky Slate ink, and we're going to grab this one on a stamp block, just like so, and I'm going to I didn't put my mat under it, but maybe we'll get a good impression anyway. Very good. Oh, how pretty. I am loving the way these turned out. I think they're gorgeous, and they're going to suit this card perfectly. So we're going to put this one on this side. So I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal about 3 places. Just like that. And set that down just like so. And then I'm going to do this one and press that down. And see how cute those papers, the colors kind of coordinate? I think that's just absolutely stunning. So we have one that's going to go on this side and one that's going to go on this side. So this is going to go on our card just like this. So we are going to fold these over let's see, this one goes over here, this one's going to go here. So remember that your place that you have the one score line, that's going to always go against your box. The box, let me zoom you out a little bit. This side where you have the one score line is going to always go against this little square box that you have. And you want it to come down and fit flush to the bottom, just like that. And then this piece is going to go here, but you're going to wait until you get that in, and then you're going to press it down like that. So then make sure everything lines up right on the edge of your card. So what we're going to do is I'm going to run a piece of Stampin Seal, and you can use your glue, it's totally up to you, right down the side there, and right here. And then I'm just going to curl that in, like so. And what I want to do is put this down, and I want to lay this right down to here, making sure that I'm getting it good and centered. And a good thing you might want to do is bring this over and bend that piece back so you can see exactly where you're getting that piece lined up to. So you want it to go right to it, but not impede it, making sure you've got the same amount here as you do here. And once you have that, you're just going to fold this entire card over, just like that, press it down, and then that piece is in. Now all we have to do is do this piece here, and on this one we're just going to put adhesive on that one tab right there. I am going to use glue for this one because I don't want my Stampin Seal to go over my border. So I got glue on that. Now I'm going to fold that all the way over, just like this, and put that down just like that. So when you press this down, you should come close to that border, but not all the way, and everything should lay flat. So then when you pick that up, this piece is now attached to this piece and the back of your card. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So as promised, we're going to put this one on this side, and remember what I told you, you want to make sure that your two score lines always go to the outside. So on this side they will go to this, they will go to the right, and on this side those two score lines will be to your left. So what we want to do is we want to put adhesive, and you want to try to get these centered up as close as we can to what the one over here looks like. And a good way to do that is just kind of fold it down like that and see if it looks good, and that looks perfect. So I'm going to leave that right there, and I am going to take some of my Stampin Seal and just run a piece of down the side and here, and then I am just going to fold this over the entire card over onto that piece. Give it a good press. Once you press it like that, then that's going to adhere perfectly where you need it to. And now we're going to run the glue just along this first part of your score line, which is that smallest score line. And I believe that amount is a 1/2 inch. So that's your 1/2 inch score line, and we're just going to put some glue on this one because it just makes it easier. And then I'm going to fold all of this back, and then we're going to fold everything down and give it a press, just like that. And now when that piece comes up, that is going to be adhered, and we're going to have this part of our card done. Now looking at this, we only have one more piece that we really need to do anything to, and that's going to be our little piece that goes across here. And I believe for this one I want to do something just a tiny bit different. So I am thinking this piece is going to measure 6.5 by 3. Let me double check that and make sure that those measurements are correct. Yes, 6.5 by 3. So let me move this cardstock out of my way. But let me grab my Many Snowflakes. And this one goes with the Snowflake Wishes. And this is such a pretty die set. And I'm just trying to figure out, I also have this beautiful green that has a tiny bit of red and white in it, which would be cute. I think I'm going to cut a piece off of this. And I know that all I'm going to need is a 6 by 6.5 by 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my piece. I'm going to go this way in case I decide to use the other side. So I'm going to cut it at 3 inches. So I'm going with my shorter side first. So 3 inches. And then we're going to turn it and cut it at 6.5. So I'm going to open up my arm and bring this over to 6.5 right there. Now we're going to need to score this piece as well. So we're going to score this at 1 1/4, 3 1/4, and 5 1/4. So again, I'm going to follow suit with what I've been doing for this entire card, and I'm going to bring out my Simply Scored scoreboard, and we're going to put this piece in. And see, I can't decide if I want to do it on the red or the green. I think I like the green. I think the contrast of the green against the reds and greens and silvers, I really like the play on that. So we're going to go ahead and score this again because I'm using the Designer Series paper. I'm going with the larger ball on my stylus, and I'm going to score this at 1 1/4 right there. And then we're going to go to 3 1/4. And then we're going to go over to 5 1/4. And then when we get ready to score this, we are just going to fold these score lines. You know, I didn't go into that one quite deep enough, so I'm going to go back. There's no harm in rescoring. Just make sure you get in there enough. You don't want to tear your paper, but you definitely want to make sure, let's see, 3 1/4. You want to make sure that you're getting your score lines done enough so that you can find them. So that looks really good. All right, let's move this out of our way. And I'm going to get my bone folder because this is crucial to make sure that each side here and here lines up. That is always crucial. So that's where your bone folder really comes in handy. And you want to really iron that out real well. And then you're going to do the same thing at this one. And you just, like I said, you want to make sure that everything is lining up perfectly squared. That makes for a much prettier card when you are done. So we're going to do this one as well, and just make sure everything, you know, from the top to the bottom, everything's nice and straight, and then crease it down just like that. And then when you finish, you're going to have something like this. And I think I'm going to use some white pieces. Now, these two panels here are the two that you're going to want to decorate. So we're going to measure these, and these need to be, well, if I get my ruler going the right way, that is 2 inches by 3 inches. So we're going to go 1/4 inch less, and I need to decide if I'm going to do my snowflakes in silver and put them on top. And if I do that, do I want to put white on here, or do I want to go in to that darker green? And you know what, we could always I'm thinking I want to go with the white, and I'm going to do, y'all know just how indecisive I am when, and I never ever have everything planned out when I come with a video. I kind of wing it. So this is going to go on here just like that. And I think for this, I want snowflakes on it without a doubt. So now my decision will be, do I want to put a piece of red in the middle or white? And I think I'm going to go with the white. I think I'm going to go with white, and I'll tell you why. I think with this being white with the silver on it, I think some snowflakes in the silver on top of that white will really accent this and give us exactly what we're looking for, or I should say what I'm looking for. So we know these are 2 by 3, so with it being 2 by 3, I'm going to cut it at 1 3/4. I'll show you exactly how I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut it at 1 3/4. That's 1/4 before the 2. Just slice that up like that, and we know that it's 3 inches this way, so I'm going to do it at 2 3/4, which is 1/4 less than what we had going on right there. So I think this will be really pretty, and I'm going to cut one more. We've got our width right, so I'm going to go to 2 3/4, almost 3. And now we have our 2 little pieces that we're going to decorate with some silver snowflakes. And I think that's going to be just so pretty. So I want them to be small enough to fit on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of these snowflakes like this, and maybe we will put them on like that. I might just use that one size because these are going to be way too big. This one I don't think makes a great showing, so I think I may use these 2 right here. I think these 2 will give me exactly what I want. So let me grab my silver paper and I will be right back.